Hi everybody. In today's quick video, I'm going to be going over how you can set up a Bitcoin NOTs node with BIP 110 using Docker. So if you're new to node running or computer systems in general, then I do not recommend this method as it can be slightly advanced. Instead, if you're new to this, I recommend using an off-the-shelf solution like MyNode or Start9 OS. I have videos on my channel demonstrating how you can set up a node with these off-the-shelf solutions, so go check those out if you're interested. There will be links down below in the description. So anyways, Docker is a tool popular amongst system administrators and software engineers and the like. It basically allows you to package applications and run them in controlled environments known as containers. So here in this project, what we do is we are using Docker. We're actually using the Docker Compose tool, which uses Docker underneath. But what we're doing is we're essentially running two containers. We're going to be running a Bitcoin container, and then we're going to be running an Electors container. So Electors is going to be there that way we can easily integrate our Bitcoin node with our Sparrow wallet and actually make use of it. So the way I'm going to go about this video is I'm going to just show you the project overview of what you got to do to get this on your machine. And then, we're going to do it ourselves here. And then also I'm going to show you how I'm actually using the software on my own node at home. So getting right into it, this is the project repo, right? So I'll leave a link to this in the description below. But what we're gonna want is we're gonna want the knots 29.3 branch. But anyways, what we got to do is we have to just create our own .env file, create our own bitcoin.conf file, and then just run the docker compose up build command. And what that will do is that will basically create those two containers, and then it'll map the host machine to these container machines ports. That way you'll be able to access Electors or Bitcoin or whatever you're trying to access through their standard ports on your host machine. So let's go ahead and get this thing running on our own machine. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a terminal here, and I already created a directory called temp. So in here, I'm going to clone this project that's right here on GitHub. So I'm going to click the code button, and I'm going to copy this URL. You might need to copy the HTTPS if you don't have SSH key set up on your system yet, but I'm going to be using the SSH method. So I'm just going to copy the URL, and then I'm going to run the command git clone, and then paste the URL. I have to use quotes, but you might not have to. But just run that command with your HTTPS URL or your SSH URL, and it should work exactly the same. So now that we're here, you can see we have a new folder called Bitcoin Knots Docker. Let's go ahead and cd into that. And then to make life easier, I'm going to open up a code editor. That way we can actually poke around in this repository. Okay, so here we are in the repository. One thing that I mentioned, we need to be on the knots branch with BIP 110. So let's go ahead and check that out. So I'm gonna do git checkout, and then let's see what it's called. Knots 29.3. Enter, and you'll see we are now on this the knots branch that we want to be on. So now we're gonna have the code that we need to have here on the left side. So what we got to do is we got to create our own .env and our own bitcoin.conf. So let's go ahead and just copy these and paste them in place. And then let's just rename them. Let's just take off the copy and the .example part. And now we have a .env. Same thing for the bitcoin.conf one here. So let's go ahead and just remove just go ahead and rename it. That way it's the real file. And then from here, we need to edit these files. So let's go ahead and go to the .env first. We have to define where we want the Bitcoin data to be stored and where we want the Electors data to be stored. Realistically, you would probably want this on like an external drive somewhere. So you'd have to mount something, then edit your etc tab file. But in our case, we're just going to run it locally here. So I'm going to go ahead and create these. I'm going to create these folders here in this project. So I'm going to go ahead and do make dir Bitcoin data and Electors data. And you'll see here we have our folders that we're going to be using for this project. So let's go ahead and peek at the bitcoin.conf because everything here looks pretty good. You can edit your banner too. So when someone connects to your lecture server, this is the text that it'll tell you. But anyways, let's go back to the Bitcoin conf and check this out. So these are just some basic defaults. We're allowing the Docker RPC. So we might need to change this based on the network that Docker gives us. But essentially, we're just whitelisting addresses. We're whitelisting ourselves in IPv4, then in IPv6, and then we're whitelisting our Docker network. Same thing down here. So we don't really need to mess with these for now. But we could go ahead and we could try running it and just see what happens. But before we run it, let me just show you like what's going on. So what we are going to be running is we're going to be running Docker compose up build. So what happens when we run this is it's going to look at this Docker compose file, and we could break this down into the services. So we have two services, our Bitcoin D service and our Electr service. So I'm going to go over Electrs first because it's a little more straightforward. But basically what we're doing is we're pulling an image from the cloud. So this is from Umbrel's repository. So we're pulling down the Electrs version 10 container here, and then we're just setting it up with values from the .env and then a bunch of defaults for the environment. So you come in here and you could change these if you want, but the defaults should work fine. What you can see here is it's trying to talk to the Bitcoin service, and it depends on the Bitcoin service. So naturally, the Bitcoin service must be created first. The Bitcoin service is a little bit more interesting because, as you can see, it's not pulling from an image. Instead, it's pulling from a build context. So basically, we're building our own Bitcoin version, and then we're just exposing these ports, and then we're also mapping volumes. But to see what actually is getting built when, in this context here, when we run Docker compose up, we have to look at the Docker file. So this is what's happening when the Bitcoin service is getting built. Basically, we are just setting our Bitcoin URLs from Dathan Ohm, I believe is how you say his name, but he has all the versions of Bitcoin knots with BIP 110 activation. So I just went ahead and I got all of the relevant URLs. I'm setting temporary working directories while we get all the URLs. Here we're importing his keys from the link that he gives us in the repository. So you can go ahead and verify that for yourself. But everything is here and open source. So you go check it out for yourself if you don't trust me. Anyways, we then do some verification of the SHA-256 sums with the signatures. So basically, essentially what we do is we import his key and we verify that the SHA-256 file is signed by one of the keys that we expect it to be signed by. And then we do some verification. If all that verification passes, then we do the actual installing of the application, and then we do some permissions and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much that. Oh, the other important thing here is the entry point. We do run entrypoint.sh, and this is what's just copying the bitcoin.conf into our container. So that's all that is. So anyways, let's go ahead and just run this command and see what happens. But now you can see it's kind of running now. It's kind of messy. So let's go ahead and let's just stop this and clean it up. That way we can just see what's going on. So I'm going to go back into my Docker Compose, and I'm just going to temporarily comment out Electr service here. That way we can not have these logs just, killing us or just obstructing everything. So I'm going to go ahead and run it again. I'm just going to make sure that Bitcoin is running first. So it looks like Bitcoin is running. Yours might take longer to start. You might, have to pull everything, but it looks like I already had images saved in my cache. So mine is just starting off as it is. But as you can see, it's downloading blocks. This is all the initial block download. So this is basically a brand new project. This is going to take a while to sync. But anyways, that looks good to me. Now, Electrs should actually just work as well. So the reason why it's probably not working is, what the heck was that? I think there's cats fighting outside. But anyways, let's look at this. Let's look at these errors by Electrs. Electrs is saying it's failed to connect to the Bitcoin RPC. And it's because the address, as you can see here, it's 172.19.0. Whatever else. So Docker gave us the .19. So Docker gave us the .19 subnet. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to actually change some of our stuff here to respect that .19. So let's go ahead and let's just do this here, find it, and then replace it with the .19. And then let's go ahead and just replace that. As you can see, Electors is now just waiting for Bitcoin to complete its initial download before Electors starts doing its thing. So this is just going to work. So you'd be able to connect your Sparrow wallet to this and be good to go. And just to show you how that works, let me go ahead and just and do that really quickly. So if you open up Sparrow here, you could come over to File, Settings, Server, and then you could change this to our local host 127.0.0.1, and it's port 50,001 here, and we could verify that by just double checking. Where do we set it at? In our double checking the Docker compose file here. You can see that the Electors RPC is going to be on port 50,001, and then we're also exposing it on our local host machine here. So if we go straight to our Sparrow and we try connecting to this, it should allow us to connect. Right now, it's probably going to give us an error because Electors is like, it's not even set up yet. It's still downloading, but this is how you would connect to it once everything's done. And the message that you would get here is a message that you set right here. So it's a very easy project to use. Now, let me show you how I'm running this on my own system so you can get an idea of what I'm doing. But first, if you like what I'm doing and you like doing things on your own, please check out my free guide, 10 operational practices that help you keep more Bitcoin over time. Basically, we just go over little things like, optimizing withdrawal frequency, better understanding UTXOs, just little things like that to help you to keep more Bitcoin over time. So this is a nice guide to just keep around and reference every now and then. You can get it at escapefromfiat.com, and you just put your email in here and I will send it to you. So let's wrap this video up by me showing you how I have this running on my system. So here I have a Proxmox server, and on it I am running a Bitcoin container. So let's go ahead and let's just get into this Bitcoin container here. So here you can see I have that same repo, and basically that's just it. So I'm going to show you, what am I going to show you? Maybe I could show you the Docker logs just for fun. And you can see everything's just running in here. Actually, I should probably follow. But you can see that everything's just running in here. So everything's working. I can connect to this on Sparrow, so let me show you that too. So this is going to be on what, 192.168.1. I'm not sure. Let's see what this is on. .244. Oops. And you can see that we're connected to it. So everything's working on mine here, but it's pretty nice. I guess what I should show you is I should probably show you where that memory is being saved. So let me just cat that .env as well so you can check that out. Okay. So I guess I could cat out the .env, and you can see that I'm saving everything to like some external data. So that way I'm not keeping all my data on this one machine. Instead, I can map it to another piece of media. That way I don't need one huge drive, and instead I could just leverage an existing drive that I have lying around. So that's my setup. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe, maybe a comment. Let me know what you want to see next, but thank you for watching. Bye.